Hey there, thinkers. Welcome back to another episode of Critical Hit. My name is S.
And I'm Finn. And today we're talking about the MCU today.
msheu.
The MCU today. So Variety came out with an article kind of summarizes everything we've been talking about lately, and everyone, of course, has been talking about, let's say, famous YouTubers have put out there. But one thing that didn't happen was Access Media never talked about it. But now, Access Media, they're biting their overlords over there at Disney and the MCU. And they're really laying down all the issues, riddling what's going on with the MCU ever since, let's say, Phase 4 and Phase 5.
Yeah, ever since really after Shang-Chi and probably the Eternals.
Well, yeah, Shang-Chi was still part of Phase 4, of course.
Yeah.
But you're right. I would agree with you that Shang-Chi would almost... I would say that Shang-Chi doesn't fit in with... and Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 3 probably don't fit in with Phase 4 and Phase 5 as much as, like, Captain Marvel didn't fit in with Phase 3.
Yeah.
Let's kind of put it that way for, like, how the movies work. But this is from Variety, of course. Mainstream media, Access Media. Crisis at Marvel. They talk about Jonathan Majors, backup plans for him, the Marvels, their reshoots, reviving the original Avengers, and more issues revealed. Lots of issues over there.
Let's get into it.
So Jonathan Majors, of course, he had a bit of we have a lot of thoughts on Jonathan Majors, and we made a video about a month and a half, 2 months ago now.
We did. I'll link it here.
But yeah, if you want to hear our major thoughts on Jonathan Majors, please go watch the video. I don't know if he's guilty. I don't know if he's innocent. Neither is anyone else. But he's definitely losing his career over not going to court. And it's not fair that the district attorney continues to put his court date off so we can't prove either way. Because then we'll know for sure. And anyways, that's where I want to leave it.
Yeah.
However, the big thing with this is they're thinking about replacing him. So this is, of course, Marvel meets in Palm Springs. Or I guess the executives over there meet at Palm Springs, and they discuss backup plans, including pivoting to another comic book adversary like Doctor Doom. But making any shift would carry its own headaches. And Majors, of course, was already a big presence in the MCU, including his scene-stealing antagonist in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And yeah, I didn't enjoy that movie very much, but for sure, I didn't think he was a bad actor. And in fact, I thought he did a pretty decent, if not, let's say, dare I say, good job.
You know, take away all the computer graphics, it's just a green screen.
Yeah, the CGI was terrible in that movie, of course.
Just awful.
But besides that, I think he actually did a good job of it, and, you know, he's just a big dude. He kind of has that presence to him. Anyways, where I would be like, yeah, I don't want to fight that guy.
No, I don't even know who Kang is. I didn't really read the comics, but, like, I know who he is now.
Well, fair enough.
But, like, it's same with Doctor Doom. It'll be exciting to see who these characters are on the big screen.
You don't even know Doctor Doom.
I don't know who Doctor Doom is.
He's like the fan. He's really like a bad guy. Well, he's like an Avengers level bad guy sometimes. You know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But let's just say,
okay.
Yeah.
I don't read comics.
It's okay. I read them for us.
It's okay. I watch the movies, and that's where I get all my information from.
Yeah, I'm also a grown adult, so, you know, I'm not saying you should think less of me, and if you don't, you dare. But, you know, I still read comics occasionally, but, you know what is picking up? Manga, Japanese manga. You know, read whatever you want, whatever makes you feel good, but I'm going to tell you this. If you like the old action hero comics of the, let's say, late 90s, early 2000s, just pick up Japanese manga. Maybe you'll like it. But this is a direct quote. Marvel's is truly effed with the whole Kang angle. He actually said the word. I'm not going to say it. But says one top deal maker who says, I've seen the final Loki episode, and of course they couldn't do any rewrites until recently because of the WGA strike. So the WGA strike just ended. They still are doing the SAG-AFTRA strike, and we've covered that additionally in another video if you want to hear our thoughts on that. But the WGA got a fantastic deal for the writers that will continue working. But again, we have some very intense thoughts about that. And I encourage you to go watch our previous video.
I will link here as well.
If you want to hear those. But beyond the bad press for Majors, the brain trust at Marvel is also grappling with, of course, the November release of The Marvels, the sequel to 2019's blockbuster. It's a blockbuster, Captain Marvel, that has been plagued with lengthy reshoots, and now appears likely to underwhelm at the box office. Yeah, I think they're projecting like a 50 to 75 million opening.
I don't know if you've noticed, but have you been seeing any of like the actual ads for it? Like, she's showing cleavage, she's in a bikini, she's in like...
They're definitely trying to appeal to the guy crowd, the one that, you know, she didn't want.
You mean the one that she doesn't need to hear?
Yeah, the one that's keeping her employed. But you're right, absolutely. I even read an article about that white shirt she's wearing, how it was like a really planned event for her to wear something like that to give her that sex appeal. And it's like, okay, at least you guys understand where your market is. Maybe you're making these changes. Now I think the Marvels is going to be terrible.
A little too late. I think that like they have a child in it. It's weird.
Well, it was supposed to be Captain Marvel too, of course, and this is the Marvels now.
Now it's the Marvels.
Because they don't think Brie Larson's going to be able to bring those crowds. Why wouldn't you think Brie Larson can bring those crowds?
Because she's a bitch.
So Monica Rambeau will bring them, or the Disney Plus series from Ms. Marvel that no one watched.
Star?
Yeah, of course.
The one that has a big fist?
Had some of the lowest ratings in Disney Plus. I mean, it's just, this is looking to be a disaster. And they're saying now that 50 to 75 million is actually an overestimate of where it may go. And Disney always front-loaded in the first weekend. The first weekend or two is where they get 70 to 80% of their box office returns.
And they're just like, wow, we shouldn't have watched that movie.
And it falls off a cliff. That's what's been happening with Marvel in the last couple of years. And it doesn't speak good for how much money this movie needs to make. Because I think it needs to make somewhere in that vicinity of, it's
$1 billion.
I don't think it needs to make $1 billion, but I think realistically you're looking at least 600 million before you can even start to declare that break-even point.
Oh, I don't know. With the amount of reshoots that the Marvels have done.
I'm being pretty liberal here. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's put it that way. But of course, there's this article goes on to talk about how there was an unprecedented run of fortune for the MCU. Yeah, it was Disney's best purchase they ever made. Absolutely. Better than Pixar. Better than Fox. I mean, they way overpaid for Fox. But, they bought $4 billion of what they paid for Marvel at the time. And a lot of stock, actually, that went to Ike Perlmutter, who we've talked about recently. Mm-hmm. But they had an amazing success that ended with Avengers Endgame making $2.8 billion in 2019. And Infinity War wasn't far behind that. I think it was about $2.5 billion as well.
Yep.
Did incredibly well. Made money hand over fist for these companies. It just hasn't been doing well since. And now that they're losing money, and that was Disney's cash cow, Kevin Feige may not look like the golden boy he used to be. But just problems plaguing the MCU or Marvel just nonstop. And I think this actually goes back a little bit to how they fired Ike Perlmutter, because I think, if anything, he was probably the yin or the yang to Kevin Feige's yin. Yin and yang kind of there.
I think so as well. I actually think that, Kevin Feige and Ike Perlmutter were the ones who really went in there and showed Disney what Marvel was really about. And that's the reason why they bought Marvel. And then they tossed them to the side like they were freaking chopped liver.
Ever since that happened, you've seen a degradation of Marvel products coming out. And I don't want to say it's all Kevin Feige's fault. He definitely has a good mind. In fact, if he had retired after 2019's Endgame, he would have gone down as one of the best executives ever in production, executive producers ever in Hollywood.
But greed gets
the fact that he stayed on is been to his detriment. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. So the Marvels are absolutely looking to be a flop coming up here, and. Everything since, of course, Quantumanium was the start of Phase 5. Ever since then, it really has been downhill. Phase 4 was bad, but Phase 5 has been just a catastrophe.
Well, unfortunately, with Marvel movies, you're actually going to the theater to see those actors. I think, if you went to theater right now, if there was another Iron Man that just released, I don't think people would go see another Iron Man right now. You probably, it's not Robert Downey Jr., it's not Iron Man.
Actually, there's been a lot of articles to the contrary of that opinion, to where people would go see, let's say, the superhero over the actor. Now, maybe not Robert Downey Jr. I think he kind of made Iron Man. Same as Chris Hemsworth. I probably wouldn't go see another Thor.
I wouldn't see Thor either. No.
But people go to see the characters, not the actors, a lot more so now than they used to. You don't have actors bringing that mass draw appeal that you used to have. Now, maybe Robert Downey Jr. is the exception to that. There's always an exception to the rule, but I absolutely believe that rule to be true, and that people don't care as much about the actors nowadays. And this is another big thing. So Marvel, of course, been plagued with lawsuits. Victoria Alonso, where they fired her, the head of the VFX.
Yep.
Because VFX was doing terribly. Ant-Man, She-Hulk came out, both terrible VFX. They end up using Victoria Alonso as a fall guy, or fall woman. I think she would be mad at me if I called her fall guy. That's gender specific, I think.
It's a fall guy.
Yeah, well, anyways.
Have a fit.
But they, of course... fired her at the time. She came back and sued Marvel, and they settled out of court for some undisclosed amount. I think they actually had a strong case at the time, but I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to speculate about who could have won that. In the end, she was fired. But every VFX artist also complained like crazy when she was the head of that studio. So maybe it's for the best. Maybe it's for the best that she's not there anymore. She also wanted the X-Men's name changed to like X People or.
Oh my God, they, them, or X. Them.
Yeah, she was definitely one of those Kathleen Kennedy types for Marvel. Let's put it that way.
Ugh.
If you've seen the South Park episode recently, picture that. Picture that. That was Marvel's. There's always one.
If you haven't seen that episode, please go watch it. It's so funny.
But yeah, it was atrocious. Now, don't get me wrong. She-Hulk was an absolutely terrible show.
Oh my God,
but the
VFX.
VFX,
so bad.
But the VFX didn't help. And Secret Invasion, again, terrible show. VFX not helping. I do think the VFX has come back a bit in Loki. And actually, I think the show for the first at least episode, maybe 2, I didn't mind it. It's definitely starting to fall down again. But overall, there's just been a subpar product coming out of Marvel ever since Phase 4 started.
Yeah, it's been like, how much can we... Well, all their money is going into the VFX team, so I don't know where they're going.
They spend a ton of money in post-production on
so
VFX,
much money.
absolutely.
So much money on
There's
VFX.
no reason, like Blade. So Blade's getting canceled and Daredevil already had 8 episodes shot, 6 or 8 episodes already shot. And they just said, nope, we're scrapping this. And so, if She-Hulk was that bad and they released it. And now Daredevil is apparently so bad that they're scrapping it. Blade is so bad they're scrapping it. But apparently they're reducing the budget of Blade down to $100 million, which is actually, like, have you seen The Creator? The budget was $90 million for that, and it looked fantastic. Like, you can absolutely make movies look great.
I put that on and then turned it off because it was boring.
Oh, no, it was a good movie. I thought, no, The Creator was a good movie. Anyways, don't listen to S on this one, and maybe I should do a review of it then, because I think I need to prove her wrong. But, but again, back to Marvel here. These are just continual L's for Marvel over and over and over again.
Loss after great tragic losses.
And who's eating these budgets? Who's engulfing these here? Like, Blade was already shot some of it. Mm-hmm. The Marvels has had to have extensive reshoots. And you have Daredevil was already shot 6 episodes. Just going back to the drawing board at this point. They're hiring a brand new writer. These are budgets that they're going to say, aren't part of the new production value, but that is absolutely Marvel losing money for the company. It's had to just, they're essentially just burning money at this point. And this used to be the cash cow for Disney.
Yeah, used to be.
Kevin Feige no longer the golden boy. To go into the next part of this, they're bringing back the Avengers. So they're actually going to bring back Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson, 2 people they killed in the last Avengers movie, Endgame. They're saying now they're so desperate that they're going to bring them back.
Well, they can, because they have so many multiple universes. They can just pop them.
There you go. They're coming back from
like
another...
a daisy or something like that. Sorry, just need to get some Scarlett Johansson over here and just pick a Black Widow.
Lazy? That's... it's such lazy writing. That's the catch-all. That's the MacGuffin to end all MacGuffins. So, and it's just lazy writing, the multiverse, where they just have these essentially MacGuffins every time they need them.
Yep.
Because...
Oh, look at this. It's a cup. It's a magical cup. It's a magical cup that can make me do whatever I needed to do right now.
What I have doesn't exist in this universe. Oh, but it exists in this universe. It's right over here.
Oh.
Just lazy writing.
No, you just go boop, boop, boop. Oh, look, I reached through here. Got it.
Yeah, it's at least you don't write yourself into a corner, because I think that's very, very likely, because I don't think they understand where they're going. And all of a sudden they end somewhere and they're like, wait a second, how did I get here? Shoot, I'm kind of... Oh, multiverse. It's like how they start scenes now with jokes. They're saying like, oh, you were so funny. It's like, okay, but they didn't hear the joke because the writer wasn't clever enough to write one. Got it. Yeah. It's just terrible writing coming into the MCU.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, so, of course, Jonathan Major troubles, Victoria Alonso troubles. Mm-hmm. Got the Marvel troubles coming out. I do want to say there's a little bit of hope on the horizon. And so, it's not with James Gunn, of course. James Gunn's gone over to DCU, even though he had a pretty good movie with the Guardians of the Galaxy. But what is coming is you have the purchase of 21st Century Fox in 2019. What happened was they bought the X-Men. They bought the Fantastic Four, and they're going to redo those movies. We know Deadpool 3 is coming out, and it's going to contain Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. It's going to look like it's going to be the entrance for the X-Men, or mutants, into, even though they've already kind of said it, I guess, in Ms. Marvel. Don't go watch it to find that out, though. I just told you. The only important thing in the entire show, I just told you. So you don't need to go watch it. There's kind of a mutant, they hint at in one of the last episodes. Don't hate me for watch. I watch it for you, but
You're welcome.
But there is hope that X-Men coming back, Fantastic Four reboot, and they're actually rebooting these things. It's important to know they canceled Daredevil. It's important to know they canceled Blade. Even though the Marvels is gonna suck, I mean, they still tried to reshoot.
They should have canceled it.
They probably should have.
Oh yeah.
And delayed a significant amount of time to actually make it into a good movie. I've heard that they're trying to channel their inner Barbie with it a little bit. But here's the thing. Barbie has a fan base of...
wine moms with cats.
Yeah, who grew up liking Barbie, and there was a fan base there. Captain Marvel doesn't have that. So they're have nerd boys. You have nerd boys that like Marvel Comics, and they're not going to see girl empowerment. Let's put it that way. But is hope on the horizon, and that maybe they're learning their lesson. Maybe they're going to switch it around a little bit here. Especially if, as we talked about the other day, Ike Perlmutter gets back a seat on the board of Disney. And he gets maybe to put his hand in some changes there. But it looks like they're learning their lesson, at least somewhat, because they're running out of money over at Disney. They just acquired, they're acquiring Hulu now in the next couple weeks for $8.61 billion. They only said they have $12 billion with all of their credit lines. All their cash flow, all their credit lines, everything is only $12 billion. So they're really hurting for money at this point. They're already negative cash flow, but they're going to have to go somewhere, somewhere deep and dark to get another credit line at this point. Maybe do it with loan shark, who knows?
I mean, like, I don't know if they're running out of people to get favors and bargains and deals from.
But hope on the horizon. But this is the big story here is Access Media has turned on the MCU. Access Media has turned on Disney.
Yep.
Access Media is now on the side of the YouTubers. They understand.
For the people.
Everything we've been saying is coming true because now Access Media is reporting it. As if it wasn't always true.
Yeah, as if we weren't already saying this was happening.
But interesting here, last line they leave it on is, writing the Marvel obituary would be ill-advised, says Jason Squire, a professor of Emirates at USC School of Cinematic Arts and host of the Movie Business podcast. Kevin Feige is the Babe Ruth of movie executives, and Marvel has the most profitable track record in movie history, no question. For now. Like I said, if he retired at the end of Endgame, he was going to go out a champion, a legend in Hollywood. But that's...
Now we're going to learn how he barely made it out alive.
We'll see what happens, but hope on the horizon, possibly. For now, Access Media on our side. Continue coming out with these stories because we need more people to know that the MCU is not the MCU it used to be.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, rest in pieces.
But that's all I got. You got anything else?
No, I have nothing else to say for right now. If you made it this far, then please do like and subscribe.
Thanks for sticking with it, guys.
Toodles!
Bye, guys.